All right, Stink. All right, Stink, you're up.
Hello.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right, doing all right. So, all right. I'm using a transcriber, so that way I can accurately record, engage the conversation, and provide a reaction in case if my throughput is slow.
Okay.
But one of the first things I noticed in the debate with Aristocrat, that you were using two logical fallacies right off the bat, right? One was poisoning the well with the statement. So if I look up this guy, he's gonna be a real stand-up guy. I won't find any sort of any kind of right-wing funding. Can you expand more upon that?
Sure. So Republicans have a vested interest to finding a particular or it will be religious. And so as a result, I can't trust a Republican in their position.
So you were the one to provide WPATH files, which was done from a liberal think tank, right? Or maybe a libertarian left-wing think tank. First didn't want to read it, and then immediately you started spewing inaccurate data from the files themselves.
Well, we went over the WPATH files, and I remember reading it. I mean, the video is right there for anyone to see. We were reading it, and well, I'm not gonna poison the well with you. So why don't you give me your point?
Well, the point being, and I'm just going to make this really brief and kick me off, right? I just think you're a narcissistic prick that is extremely dishonest. And the fact that you are willing to also use the argue from authority with Aristocrat as well during this entire time.
Okay. Do you think that, like, if I appeal to a scientist who is an expert in that field who has presented their own evidence is an appeal to authority?
Well, I would rather talk to the scientist. The scientist is going to be immediately far more truthful and actually use provided with context data than you will.
Well, I mean, we can go over individual studies if that's what you're interested in.
Well, no, I just.
But I'm asking you: do you think that is that an appeal to authority? You didn't answer my question.
Well, no, I did because I don't frankly trust you because you're going to immediately take data out of context.
I'm just asking you.
How you were, like,
do you think using
to
a scientist? Do you think that if you have a scientist who is an expert in that field of study, and that I reference that particular person, and then I reference their study, is that an appeal to authority?
Well, the thing is that you didn't even reference the study. Instead, you just.
I can provide any study that is required if you need it. I can absolutely provide that. But no, I'm not going to provide the study on every single claim I make. But I promise you this, a claim that I am making that is on the basis of some empirical finding, I probably have a study for because I've looked this up before. So I'm asking you, is that a fallacy?
I mean, you provided a study. I would have to look at it, right? You know.
Is it a fallacy if I bring up a scientist that is relevant in that field?
If you bring up the study, if you're actually sourcing the study, providing the links, then no.
It's not a fallacy, is it? Okay, cool. So I didn't commit a fallacy there.
Good thing I'm
cool.
proud that
so let's go back to that original one. Like what?
First off, right? Like I said, I'm transcribing this, right? You originally said this, right?
Yeah. Stink, you there?
Yeah. Give me a moment, right? Give me a moment. I'm like it's transcribing as fast as I'm talking about. It's AI accelerated. It's pulling data sets. Oh boy, hold on. I mean, to provide a study, I have to look at it, right? If I were to bring up the scientists and I responded that if you're bringing in the study, if you're actually sourcing the study, that was my crux of the argument, is that if you're sourcing the study and if I can read the study, then it's not a fallacy. But if you are just making a grandiose claim from a study without providing the study, then it's a fallacy.
I will respectfully disagree there with you, Stink Dink, because I can provide the study at any point in time. So so you made the argument that it's an argument from authority, but I don't really care whether or not that, like, the only reason why it matters as to whether or not that they're a doctor is that they actually know what they are talking about in that relevant field of study. So I don't consider that to be a fallacy.
It's, again, right? You just say you don't care. Like you yourself just braggadociously claim that you don't care.
What else did I say? You have a transcript, right?
Yeah.
I just said it.
Yeah, I'm reading it. Yeah, it's an argument if it's trust in study, if it can read the study, then it's not a fallacy. But if you're making grandiose claims from a study without providing the study, then it's a fallacy. I can provide a screenshot of the
So an argument from authority is where you basically claim something is correct on the basis that they are that authority, not on the basis of any argument that they make. However, I present something, I make a claim that can be backed based by evidential findings. So it is not true that as soon as you get a doctorate, you must take a vow of silence, because at any point that you make any single argument as a doctor, all of a sudden it is an argument from authority because you have a doctorate. Obviously, that's not the case. The point is that you could have a doctorate. I know you didn't say that. But I'm saying that logically entails if I take your position as the case.
You're asking for a fucking study. That's all I'm asking for.
What study do you need? What claim did you have a problem with?
The claim that, right, you said that multiple times, right? You said, if you're not doing a scientific study, why not believe that? You yourself said that. You yourself made that claim.
Why not believe somebody that they're trans on the basis that because we don't have like an empirical measure to determine 100% whether or not that they're trans or faking it?
No, I'm just talking about as a whole, right? I'm talking about the whole idea of actually doing the research.
You need to present something concrete. You can't just like operate on some generality. I'm asking you, provide something. What exactly is it that I am doing that's bad faith?
I already did. I already provided an example.
What is the current medical consensus regarding trans people? We're gonna start again on the very basic. Stink Dink, calm down. Stink Dink, calm down. Calm down. I'm not gish galloping.
I'm not calming down because you were being dishonest. Like, this is the type of shit that I was fucking writing down. Right? You are immediately moving the goalpost when the original crux of the argument that I was making was talking about the fallacies that you are using. Right? I do not care about the trans stuff. I am bringing up your rhetoric when it comes to debates.
Okay, so you want to talk about my rhetoric?
Yeah.
Do you think that what particular rhetoric do you not like?
Well, like I said, right, I already pointed out two of your fallacies.
But they weren't fallacies, and you agreed to the first one.
They were clearly fallacies because you yourself just made a grandiose statement
and
that
then
I was talking.
We talked about the second one, how the second one can't possibly be a fallacy because if you said that was the case, then it would entail. Please allow me to finish.
I'm talking about the second fallacy, the argument from authority fallacy, where you yourself, and I quote directly from Aristocrat, from you to Aristocrat, if you're not doing a scientific survey, why not believe that?
Yeah, whether or not that they're trans. The context is whether or not that they are trans. So, like, because you are not an because you are not an I can provide a source on, but that's not even a claim that I would provide a source on.
The entire debate with Aristocrat.
I can provide sources.
Yeah, why not? Why not provide a source with the Aristocrat to counter his claim? I would have been willing to have to read it.
I am simply saying. I don't even need to provide a study for this. This is quite intuitive. Steak Dick, calm down.
I'm not calming down until you actually like think about what I'm saying, right? When Warmish provided more sources in a single debate than you could during the entire debate with Aristocrat. There's a problem, right?
Because it wasn't necessary. We weren't challenging each other's positions. We were just taking each other at good faith.
There was moments like when my fucking transcript was saying, "Hey,
it was pretty like cordial the entire time." But for whatever reason, anytime that you show up here, Stink Dink, you completely lose your mind. And I'm just trying to have a cordial discussion with you.
In trolls again, right? That's the type of thing. You already are poisoning the well with that statement, right? Right there. That's like the original statement that you made about me, right?
I don't have to even mention that. Hey, let me ask you this. Have you ever seen the video of like, there was that one person from the r/anti work that showed up on Fox News?
I'm trying to
you are just like that person. Like, I don't even have to like address your point because you come off as so insane. It's not even necessary. I want to have the cordial discussion. Let's have the back and forth.
All right, then from here on out, stop calling me Chud in your videos because you already are painfully poisoning the ball with me. Simple as that.
If you could have a cordial discussion, I will not call you a Chud in the video.
All right, cool. And now I'm the tower as well too. So change that right now.
You want me to go into the... But you realize how you acted in that video, right? It's intensely funny.
I'm not an idiot. It's Notepad++. You can fucking change that shit.
All right. I'm not changing that video. But I will. But I won't put Chud on this video. You can redeem yourself. It is redeemable.
No, I refuse. Right? I refuse if you're doing that.
Then why are you here?
Because I want to teach you ethics, right? I want to teach you ethics, and here you are. You're preemptively poisoning the well. You're doing this sort of like gish galloping. You're moving goalposts, right? He likes it, right? I want to originally have a discussion regarding how you come across these debates, and then immediately you want to talk about my trans stuff, right? And I don't give a fuck about that, right? I honestly don't give a fuck about that. I honestly give a fuck about how you present yourself, right? Because if you present yourself better, you want to have gotten docs.
Okay. You're saying that because I don't present myself well enough, I deserve to be doxxed?
No, I'm not saying that, right? Again, I provided the transcript, right? Let me reread what I said, right? If you presented yourself better, then you wouldn't have gone doxxed. Like, that is a defensive measure. I'm not saying that you didn't deserve to get doxxed, right?
Okay. So I wanted to focus on an actual topic and not whatever this is right now.
No, let's focus on this.
Okay. I think my rhetoric is fine. I don't really see an issue regarding my rhetoric.
Well, this is Rich came from the guy who did a debate like a year ago about the dangers of logical fallacies. And
the dangers of logical fallacies.
You don't remember the logical fallacies that you did back?
You know, it is interesting. You know, when you debate people and you spend a long time debating people, your positions change over time. And I think in order to be like a logical thinking person, if you have new evidence on something, please don't talk over me.
Let me ask you what has changed.
Let's have a back and forth. You don't need to talk over me.
No, you are, again, you're doing this sort of claim that I'm changing positions, even though my position is that
I'm saying I want to say something, and you are, and you're yelling at me in the middle of me trying to talk.
All right, I got the timer running.
It's not about an equal amount of time back and forth. I don't care if you talk most of the time. I just don't want you to interrupt when I'm trying to talk to you. You good?
Yeah, no, yeah, I was letting you continue.
All right. I don't have an issue with my rhetoric. I don't see the issue. But I'm willing to hear. You said that I made two logical fallacies, but I disagree that those are fallacies. I explained my reasoning. Do you have anything else?
So if I look up this guy, he's going to be a real stand-up guy. I won't find any kind of right-wing funding.
Yeah. I gave an example as to why I don't trust right-wingers when it comes to studying trans people. Yes.
Yeah, I provided a left-wing fund. I provided a left-wing expose on WPath, and you had a lot of issues. In fact, you wouldn't even open up the PDF.
I did open the PDF. I actually opened it. I opened it live, and I was reading directly from it.
Well, no, it took you forever though to open it. In fact, I provided it to you earlier.
Yes, because you sent me a PDF directly, and I don't know where that PDF came from. That was very simple.
Even though you yourself were willing to provide PDFs to me, and I have never had an issue with you providing links to me, and you before used to trust me on providing links. But as soon as I dropped
I'm just explaining as to why, okay? That's all. You could either take it or leave it. I'm not going to lie to you.
I mean, it sounds like to me you're lying to me at the end of the day, right? Unless you can disprove
think I am lying to you.
Yeah.
Out of the dozens and dozens of people that met me, do you think lying is one of them? Of the people that have known me for years, do I lie?
I'm saying that we had to deal with a large-scale drama about potentially what happened with the murder. There seems to be something behind the scenes and lying.
Like what? What did I say that was a lie?
Well, I'm not saying it's you. I'm saying it's other people.
So I don't lie. You haven't found me in a lie.
Well, yeah.
I pride myself in not lying. You know, I actually read Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules for Life. There is one rule that did stick with me. When I was actually a Jordan Peterson fan. The rule was don't lie. And I agree with that rule. I think it's a good rule. Even to my own detriment, I do not lie. I make it a principle to not lie. So the problem that I'm having here is you say that I'm lying, I'm being disingenuous right here, but I'm being entirely genuine with you.
Then explain why you didn't have issues before when you're governing over debate politics. You didn't have an issue with opening up PDF links for me, opening up links in journal for me, and then suddenly I come over here when you're like trying to get it big and streaming on YouTube, trying to like have this sort of like set belief system for your YouTube channel. Suddenly you have an issue with my PDF. Suddenly you have an issue with my links, right? You don't think I didn't notice that?
Yeah. So I know that PDF embeds happen, and it is possible to embed it with a virus. I'm not saying you yourself have please. I'm not saying you yourself have embedded a virus in the PDF. Perhaps it is possible, unbeknownst to you, there was a virus in there. I didn't know where that PDF came from. And so I did not trust it under the basis that I didn't know where it came from. It's just simple security. That's all. Okay.
So even though you know me for years as security specialist analyst, you suddenly have an issue with me.
I'm saying I don't know where that PDF came from. It's simple.
You didn't know where that PDF came from.
Why are you so angry about that? It's not even a big deal. I'm just like, hey, just show me where it comes from.
It shows your character and how.
What is my character?
Do I need to reiterate for you?
What is my character? I must hate Stink Dink because Stink Dink bad.
I'm sorry for cutting you off, right? But why are you cutting me off now? I'm trying to be respectful for you, but you keep cutting me off because they need to cut you off. Can I go?
Yeah.
Okay. So, again, to reiterate my point is that you seem to lost trust in me, right? Despite even though like I know
I hardly trust anyone after getting doxxed.
Well, and I understand that, right?
I hardly trust a single person. It's very seldom I will trust somebody.
Even after that, you and I were still sharing shit, right? And then suddenly you come over here, and I get why you came over here, right? But like as soon as
I was just constantly getting harassed. I didn't want to deal with the harassment anymore.
Well, you know that you could just come to us, right?
Huh? I just didn't want to. Yeah, but like they were part of the fucking group. I was like, I just don't want to deal with it. I have no messages between you and I on any PDF.
Well, if you don't, I don't know if you remember, but this is a new account, right? Someone took out my old account.
Why? What happened?
I don't know why. But you can ask Seppi. You can ask a bunch of people, right? This is a news think tank account.
Okay.
Well, before it was called Cream McHerman.
So, did you want to debate about anything, or did you want to bring up like some old irrelevant drama that has nothing to do with anything?
I still want to debate the whole PDF thing, right?
Yeah. So again, I'm telling you, I don't know where that PDF came from. It could have come from anywhere. Right? It is easy to embed a virus into any PDF. And so, because I don't know where it came from, I don't trust it. Okay? It's that simple. That's why. So I said, "Where can you just send me the link to it?" I asked you. I said, "I don't." You said, "Why won't you read it? Why won't you download it?" I said, "Because I don't know where it came from." I said it over and over, and then you said, "Would it be okay if I sent you a website?" And I said, "Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, because then at least I can like scan it. I could check it. I could see where it came from. Does it come from a reputable site? Is it running is it running HTTPS? Are they actually paying for some server hosting and some actual certificate authority? These are things that are important."
And I get that. But don't you think that the guy who works security analyst would have done already the homework before that? And
I don't know where it came from. I'm not saying you're bad at your job. Do you understand? The point is, you should do the same thing to me.
I mean, yeah, I do the same thing to you, right? But the difference is that I don't take 2 hours to respond back to you, and then I go on stream and say, "Oh well, I haven't read it because I don't trust it." Even though that was probably
again, we if you watch my video, I'm definitely reading from the paper.
In which you start spewing off inaccurate information from the paper itself.
I literally just was reading off the paper.
Really?
I wasn't sure if that was inaccurate information or accurate information. All I was doing was reading what the paper said.
Can you put on the video? Because
you asked me to pull up a page. Right. I pulled up that page. I started reading from that paper.
All right, I want to put the video right because there's a part of the video where you claim that WPath was founded in 2016. That is incorrect. WPath was founded in 2004.
When was the WPath formed? WPath 2007. Okay. What's the issue?
Well, again, I guess we're both wrong with this, but the fact that I was closer to you than your original claim, right? You're off by 9 years, whereas I was only off by 4 years, and that's with me into the document, and I forgot to glance at it during the debate.
Okay.
All right, so you didn't really read it, right? That's the point that I'm making is that
I mean, like I didn't read the entire 40 pages in front of you, but I did read through it. I could show you the clips. It's all there.
I got the clips too. Yeah, I got the clips too.
Yeah, so then what are you arguing about? I definitely did read it.
Well, you didn't read it thoroughly.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a 40. Wasn't it like a 40-page document? I'm not going to read a 40-page document on a stream.
It's a 242-page document.
All right, yeah. So I'm probably not going to be able to finish like a literal fucking Lord of the Rings book within like a 3-hour, 4-hour stream. That seem fair?
I'm not asking that, right? But you immediately, instead of like actually delving into the document, instead you started to refute claims that I was making off the document without properly reading it. Because you already have this sort of like poison the well sort of mindset to yourself that this document is from like a Chud fucking organization, even though like we had to go.
I'm asking you. What I go in favor is what is the medical consensus, and the reason why is because I am not a psychologist. I am not an endocrinologist. I am none of those things. Okay,
and so authority.
That's not an argument from authority. Not at all. I'm saying that I don't know. And because I don't know, I'm going to defer to experts in the field, right? And so the argument from authority is not actually there. And the reason why is because I can pull up any of the studies and it will agree with what I am saying. interestingly enough, that the consensus agrees and has evidence on basis and why it is the consensus to begin with. It is possible that the consensus could get updated in the future, in which case I will go in that direction. I just go in the way of the facts. I don't have an ideological bend.
You aren't really an atheist then. You just rely entirely on some sort of faith-based metric instead of like actually analyzing the data, looking at it, and deciding, okay, what sort of...
No, I did analyze the data regarding...
Really, because again, right, as we
why
have
I'm an
shown,
atheist,
right, you have now made that claim, and I want to reread what you just said, right here, that you are willing to go with the flow until the consensus changes, and then you go with that.
Yeah, regarding the medical science, really, sure.
But wouldn't it be far more feasible and easier to actually develop your own sort of belief system and start analyzing data?
Absolutely not. People are wrong most of the time. And I would absolutely rather go to an expert than just use my gut feeling. The gut feelings make people make terrible decisions. They do it all the time.
Instead of realizing when you are wrong and willing to admit that you're wrong and grow from those mistakes, you're just willing to just be safely be right all the time.
Did you hear what I said?
I'm literally reading what you just said right here.
I didn't say that. Do you have any actual argument or, like, is there anything you got for me, buddy?
People are wrong most of the time, and I would absolutely so instead of realizing that you have end up feelings make people make terrible decisions, right? Did you not say that?
Yeah, people make terrible decisions on the basis of their gut, and it's better to appeal to people who actually know what they're talking about as opposed to just my gut. My gut is often wrong.
But you're not a scientist.
That's correct. That's why I appeal to the scientists.
You can easily like develop your own sort of rigid belief system without affecting the harm of others.
Sure, I guess, but I'm just going to, like, regarding the medical science, I'm not going to be like, oh, I don't trust that. I literally know nothing about the biology. I know nothing about the endocrinology. I don't know anything about the psychology. I mean, outside of like books that I've read, that would be it. You know, these people have spent their entire lives studying this subject. And so, like, I'm going to appeal to that. Absolutely. Why would I not appeal to the giant breadth of knowledge that is available to me? Well, how do I get this red coin?
I mean, like I said, right, I've already established that that's probably not, I don't know, at least to me, right, you know, considering that I went to college for a couple of years, right? And I'm sure you have.
I have a bachelor's degree in management of information systems. If some freaking knuckle dragger is sitting there telling me about how third normal form works for SQL databases, I'm going to get a little upset. I'll be honest. I'd be like, you really need to appeal to some experts on this. You don't know what you're talking about.
And I get that, but I also remember back when I was going to school that I had to take courses in critical thinking.
Yeah, so did I.
But you're not doing any sort of critical thinking, and so you just really. So have you read like the methodology of these studies?
Yeah.
Have you actually read the studies themselves, or you just jump to the conclusion?
No, I read the abstract and the conclusion. If I disagree with the abstract or the conclusion, then I'll just read like, okay, well, what's their methodology? And then like, usually I end up on the same consensus after reading the methodology. I've never had a situation where it's like been like a really problematic, unless of course that like, you know, I do a little bit of like digging on the particular doctor or whoever it is and find out it's just a quack. That has like a dubious history.
A study from the University of Stanford that talks about the sexual activities of furries, and it came to the conclusion that over 99% of furries had basically it sort of got into furry fandom because it was their fetish, right? Would you agree with that? Because
I don't know if it's 99%, but yeah.
It's roughly 99%, right? It's from a 20.
I don't know if it's 99%, but yeah, I do think that like most furries are into it for the sexual enjoyment. Yes. But there do exist a minority where that's not the case. Do you have a point?
I mean, I just have issues with critical thinking. That's all.
What is my critical thinking?
I mean, well, I've read WPATH files. I don't know if you have read them or.
Yeah, but okay. So then let me ask you: what is the current medical consensus regarding trans people?
I mean, I know.
Number one, do trans people exist? Are they real?
Okay, first off, right, I know they exist, right? I'm not a fucking idiot, right? I'm not born under.
Again. I'm not saying you're an idiot, but you'd be amazed, man. Sometimes I talk to some people and they say that it's not real. So let's agree. That's fine. Let's go to the next thing.
It's sort of like poisoning the well.
I'm not poisoning the well. I'm asking if you think that's the case.
Do you think trans people exist, right? Even though I have been encountered with trans people, right?
Okay, so
therefore, using that logic, I have encountered trans people. Correct, right?
Okay.
So what's the point, right? What's the point of bringing up that question?
So I've talked with people in the past that don't think trans people are real. They think it's just made up, right? And it's a position to have. I mean, I disagree with the position. I can provide, science as to what I need to know where you're at regarding trans people is what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to poison the well saying, oh, this guy doesn't know anything. I'm simply saying I don't know where you're at with it. Okay. So we'll find out where we divulge. So I asked some very basic questions. Hey, where do you divulge on this? Okay.
Well, let me ask you this, right?
How do I get this red coin? How about this? Can you use your critical thinking and tell me how to get this fucking red coin? I can't get this red coin. I'm stuck getting this one red coin.
You are using the wrong pack. You're supposed to be using the jetpack. You're supposed to go underwater. You're supposed to use a jetpack.
I am using a jetpack.
No. The other jetpack. The propeller jetpack.
The one that goes forward? Okay.
Yes. You gotta dive underwater, and that's how you can get it.
I didn't even know you could use that underwater.
Yeah.
I'll check. Anyway.
But there's another way too. That coin will also go through rocks.
Yep.
And when it's in between the rocks, you can get it there.
Yeah. So you don't like my rhetoric. Do you think it's possible that you don't like my rhetoric because you have a right-wing viewpoint and I have a more centrist Democrat viewpoint?
No, because I talk to Vaughn all the time. And Vaughn is someone who I would say is arguably far more left-wing than you. And I talk to Warmish, and I don't have an issue with Warmish.
Okay. So why do you freak out with me? My rhetoric is just that bad?
I mean, well, geez, when you title things like Chud, I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, did you see the video?
I mean, well, yeah, I've seen the video, right? I know this video is probably getting a lot of clicks too, right? You know, it was
really funny. It was really funny. It was like total rage mode. It was just like, what is happening?
Yeah, and I get that. And yeah, I'm a very passionate person, right?
Yeah.
Right. But that's because at the same time, right? Here, I like you can talk to other people, right? I try to be measured, but when I hear these sort of things, and I don't see sources on citation, right? Because I always provide them regardless. That's me, right? And it pisses me off when I see someone who you could say that I don't, I respected you a little bit, and before you used to do that sort of stuff, and we used to do that back together, and then suddenly you just do a 180. That's not it, by the way. You need like I said, you need the other one, the one that shoots forward.
I'm looking.
Yeah, not the rocket one, the propeller one.
Yeah, I'm looking. I don't know where it is in this level. I'm just looking. Oh, there it is.
And I'm willing to admit this, right? Maybe I poisoned the well, in my own mind, right? When I saw that, right? Maybe that got me just all red in my eyes, right?
I think what it is that I'm not sure if you realize, not to dig up old drama, but the amount of just turmoil that I went through regarding what I refer to as the righty boys, was so intense that it negatively affected me and I think it will continue to negatively affect me for a very long time, right? And because you are found basically around them constantly, right, and contributing in that kind of group, I was like, these people are not out like for me. They're not interested in being friendly to me. They're not interested in having a cordial discussion. They just want to be bullies. And I paired you up with that.
And I get that. I totally understand that. But you have to realize that, again, we don't seem to have this problem with other, I guess you could say, like lefties that come around our circles. I guess say lefty boys, lefty girls. Granted,
to be honest, the righty boys have chased off almost everybody on that server. I don't think you realize that yet, or maybe you do. But everybody has gone. Have you noticed?
I mean, not really. I mean, they were.
You've not noticed the ridiculously low amount of people on that server consistently?
Wait, we had like what, like maybe a 20% less voice traffic, and then now it went back to.
It's not a 20% less voice traffic. It's way less than that.
Okay, so how do you know that, right? We actually have the stats inside.
I mean, sure. I mean, I suppose you could post that, but if you mean like 20% less traffic. In the past 2 weeks, then maybe that could be the case. But you only have to go back about 2 weeks, unless if y'all paid for that bot.
What bot?
The bot that does that. I'm the one who set it up. You remember?
Well, I mean, I didn't know. I wasn't aware of the bot, right?
Yeah, there's a bot that does it. Yeah, it's free, but you only get up to 2 weeks of history. And I mean, if you're down 20% in the last 2 weeks, I wonder what the past 6 months was like.
I mean, well, we got we had another meeting.
Anyway, I'm not really like, I don't really want to talk about the other server. It's really just not relevant. I'd rather just be comfortable and happy and enjoy my life. And hey, let's debate, let's argue, let's do that whole thing if you're interested.
Well, how about this?
Bro, where the fuck
I'm willing to throw aside this, right? If you are willing to do a 100% formal debate, no fucking video games, right? Because it's just distracting me.
Why?
Because
you're distracted.
Yeah.
See, I have ADD, and like, so I don't get distracted from games easily. I can do like multiple things at the same time. It's a weird power I have.
I mean, that's great and all, right?
You know, you could just turn off the stream, right?
Oh yeah, I can do that, right? But at the same time, it's Mario Sunshine, and I love seeing people fucking Mario Sunshine.
Nice.
Yeah. But like I said, right, I'm willing to have a formal debate, right? I mentioned that in DMs. Give it a thought, right? And if anything, I'd like to have a formal debate about the WPath files, provided that you read it, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's it for me.
Okay, man. So what is your position on trans people?
I personally don't have an issue with them. The only issue that I really have with them is when they become tyrannical, because they often hold high power in networking engineering positions, and they're willing to cut off inflow. You're saying this like someone who doesn't know. You're saying like it's years, like someone doesn't know about.
Well, I mean, like I'm very much a trans ally, and like, even if they did hold a lot of power, I would just be like, yeah,
so
go for it.
Are you aware of the subreddit drama that happened back in 2021 with Amy Chalmer?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Are you familiar with the subreddit drama that happened with Amy Chalmer?
No clue, dude. No clue, bro.
So Amy Chalmer was a transgender, and I can provide sources if you want me to. This is like directly from Reddit themselves. A lot of stuff. So it's like from the UK. This is coming from different.
I love how you're just like, this is directly from Reddit themselves. That's so fucking funny.
Like what I'm saying. Okay, because so the reason why I say that is because Reddit themselves had to make a big announcement about the shit show.
I gotta get a fedora. I gotta. Just
you don't need to do that, right? Anyways, what I was getting at is that Amy Chalmer was a trans person who had a checker pass. They became a Reddit administrator and immediately started censoring their name. The problem when they did that, though, was there was like 5 different UK politics subreddit that were talking about her at the same time. So a bunch of subreddits almost got nuked because they mentioned Amy Chalmer.
Yeah.
which then led into crisis
Yeah,
mode.
I mean, it just sounds like some some Reddit drama. I mean, what relevance does this have? I guess. Like, I mean, you're saying that you don't like trans people when they're tyrannical, and it's like, well, I don't like it when anybody's tyrannical, and so, like, I just don't. Why specifically trans people? I guess. I mean, anybody is tyrannical.
Let me finish. There is a webmastering service called honeycomb.io that is partnered with Google, and they will conveniently censor things that are critical of, I guess, like trans news, trans research, etc. It's run by Brianna Wu, who I'm sure, I don't know if you know.
I do know Brianna Wu. Yeah.
And they censored, I guess you could say, like a forum.
Once upon a time, I used to make fun of her. Once upon a blue moon. Yeah. I changed my position based on new evidence.
That's fine and dandy, right? But I know this for certain that her webmastering services basically caused large scale censorship across the internet until a lawsuit that happened this year that conveniently basically removed a lot of the censorship that Honeycomb was doing.
Okay.
No, it was John Walker. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't Brianna Wu. It was.
I thought like Brianna Wu was like a game designer. I was like, wow, she fucking moved up in the world. Huh?
Liz Fong Jones.
Okay. So yeah. I mean, you're saying that there was a lawsuit, and then what? I mean, it just was found unconstitutional or something, and then what? Like, I failed to see the issue.
Well, a bunch of sites that were once a bunch of gender critical sites that were censored, and they were buried by the webmaster services.
I'm not in favor of general censorship. And again, I at the same time, like, I agree there are people that are tyrannical, and I'm not in favor of that. But what does that have to do with trans people?
I mean, when you have trans people in this position of power trying to censor information.
Yeah, but that would mean you have a problem with tyrannical people, not trans people.
I mean, yeah, I have a problem with tyrannical people. I mean, you don't get me wrong.
What does it matter if they're trans? It's just a tyrannical person as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, it could be just anecdotal, but I notice this a lot when it comes to networking engineering positions, that as soon as they get into power, they suddenly want to censor a lot of things.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, right, I
that would be with a cis person as well.
No, I work
so
with
what relevance does that have to trans people?
I work with a lot of cis network engineers. They never bother censoring anything. I worked with a lot of gay network engineers.
But what if they don't?
Right? I mean,
are there power hungry cis people? Yes or no?
There's no survey. Like, there's no study on my end, because this is something that's so fucking niche that nobody will really know about. But this is something that I notice that gay people, they don't censor. People of any race, they really don't censor. But for some reason, it just always seems to be like it could be just one trans person, it could be a company run by trans people, etc. It's just a pattern I notice.
Okay, but there are cis people. The problem is there's cis people that are tyrannical, right? So whether or not that they're trans doesn't have any relevance to me.
Not when they're running the backbone of the internet.
I agree. There are cis people that are also power hungry that would run the backbone of the internet.
You're switching it up, right? I'm talking inherently, like I said, right? I provided, like I said, anecdotal, right? But you can look it up, right? Have you, like do this for me, right? Can you look up any network admin engineer who could be cis censoring things on the internet?
Look up any network engineer that is censoring people, like a cis network engineer?
Yeah, cisgender, gay, lesbian, asexual, or white, sure, black, etc.
Hold on.
And just, hey, like I said, like with my belief, I'm willing to admit that I'm wrong.
Okay, right here on Reddit. hello, I hope everyone doesn't mind me kind of venting out a bit. I have a CCNA and recently graduated college with a computer engineering degree. Currently working in my first network engineering role at an ISP company. This is my first job at, if my help desk internships don't count. However, I am doing terrible, and I am especially having a tough time with troubleshooting networks. I'm almost a month in my job, and I'm doing terrible that my supervisor is getting impatient with me. Although I do have colleagues that are patient enough, not my boss though. So this is a tyrannical boss. That would be an example.
Wait, that doesn't make any
they
sense.
They could be cisgender. So what is the, so what's,
wait, it's like,
I mean, it's a mild example, but it is a mild of a level of tyranny, right?
Tyrannical. A boss can be a shitty boss, but he's not controlling the flow of the internet, right? I'm not talking like, oh, he's being a dick to me at work.
They have to control the flow of the, well, I mean, he's a CCNA. He is already controlling the flow of the internet.
No, that's not necessarily the case. Right?
Yeah, they are. Did they or did they not install a firewall?
A guy is getting
if they ever install the firewall, the answer is yes.
They are,
in fact, literally controlling the internet.
Networks. That is for local networks, right? I'm not talking.
That could also be for WAN networks. It depends on what level.
No, when I say the internet, right, you know exactly what I'm fucking talking about, right? Like, bro, like, you don't need to.
I do know what you're talking about.
Then why the fuck are you saying, oh, well, it's LAN, right? No, I'm not talking about LAN. I'm not talking about
local. It could also, the same thing could be the case for WAN. What does it matter?
It matters. Like, bro, like, again, right, you're bringing up this sort of, like, this weird fucking tangent, right, where I brought up, like, hey, we're talking like legitimate webmastering, censoring of websites, right? I provided a concrete example, right? That's the standard that I set up. And then you decided to just bring up shitty bosses, right?
Yeah, I just, I was like, all right, what's a situation of like someone being tyrannical in a network position and they're like cisgender, and this is just the first example. I'm sure I could pull up more examples that might be more apropos to what you're looking for, but like the end of the day, I mean, you're saying, well, they have to control the inflow and outflow of the network. Okay, well, that would be a firewall. So if they've ever installed a firewall, which if you are, if you've ever done any IT whatsoever, you've probably installed a firewall at some point. So that part matches. And then you're talking about, well, no, that's not like, that's at a LAN level. Okay, fine. What if this same thing happens, but at a WAN level? Like, all of this follows.
All right, so I found the part where you said, okay, right here on Reddit. Hello. I hope everyone doesn't mind me kind of ending out a bit, reaching out a bit. I have a CCNA, I recently graduated college with computer engineering, in my first networking engineering role at an ISP company. This is my first job at my help desk internships. I don't count, doesn't count. However, I am doing terrible, and I have a tough time in troubleshooting networks, and my supervisor is being impatient with me. Do we know the supervisor's legit sits?
We don't. Good point.
So wait. So why did you bring it up as an example?
Oh, I brought it up as an example because it's not really mentioned whether or not they're trans. And so if they're not even mentioning that they're trans, it's a pretty good chance that they're not trans. And given the fact that over 99% of people are not trans, I could probably be safe to say that this person is that this supervisor is not trans.
Can you drive me the Reddit post?
Huh?
Can you drive me the Reddit post?
Can you drive the Reddit post? I'm
sorry.
No,
can you drop the Reddit post?
Sure. Yeah. That
I
can do.
Yeah.
I thought you said you were reading it.
Well, no, like absent, like you didn't drop it, right? So I was
I'm just giving as just a singular example, right? I understand that it's not like them taking over like a giant internet trunk. I mean, sure, but I guess like what I'm trying to. Holy shit, dude! That watermelon exploded, bro. Anyway. Pro
tip.
What
you want to do is that you basically want to keep propelling it, and instead of dealing with it, right? Just go full throttle, just go full retard with the watermelon.
Okay.
Also, you don't get hit by them.
Yeah, I got this. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I mean, I understand it's not like a trunk level, but that's fine. I mean, I think it's still, I'm saying like, there are tyrannical people, right? And yeah, that could be a trans person. But then the problem isn't whether or not they're trans. The problem is that they are tyrannical. The problem that you have is not that they're trans. The problem is they are tyrannical, right? So, like, why are we using their transness as the problem?
Well, again, right? Like I said, right? You're doing that sort of like manipulation of words. Like what I've noticed, right, in particular, and again, like you just use like a throwaway, a shitty boss example, right? When I'm talking, like, no, I'm talking like, say, for example, Honeycomb.io, a company that is designed specifically to censor information off the Reddit, off of, like, not just Reddit, not like basically doing basic Google webmastering for Google itself to censor information that Google doesn't like.
Hold on.
I can talk about the Hurricane Electric, that Hurricane Electric incident that happened back in 2022 with Kiwi Farms. That was another example where Hurricane Electric was deliberately blocking inbound, outbound traffic from ISPs, and he had like. And
do sysadmins count? Do they count?
What do you mean by like sysadmins?
Well, I mean, it's not a network engineer specifically, but I mean, a systems administrator is kind of a jack of all trades. And so I'm wondering if you would count that.
I mean, if they're going out of the way to censor information, be it by cutting off services, like, again, right, I can provide another example of that where I'm kind of glad you brought that up, because there was a known pedophile system admin at Path Networks who, yeah, like I said, I have lots of examples, right, who went out of their way basically to threaten litigation on, again, right, Kiwi Farms, because I had a thread about him and his prior messages talking to minors. And that was a sysadmin, right? He went out of his way to...
I'm looking at a LinkedIn thread that's talking about computer networking and what do you do if your boss abuses their power in computer networking. When you discover that your boss is abusing their power in the realm of computer network, it can be a disconcerting and challenging situation to navigate. In a field where access to sensitive data and control over network resources can have significant implications, understanding how to address such misconduct is crucial. This article aims to guide you through steps that you should consider when taking to deal with the delicate issue when maintaining professionalism and protecting your position. So it looks like it talks about recognizing the abuse, staying professional, seeking advice, using channels, protecting yourself, planning ahead, and what else to consider. So considering that this article is being created, it probably logically follows that there are network administrators that do, in fact, abuse their position.
Yeah. So,
and it is irrelevant as to whether or not they're trans, right?
I mean, well, yeah. Well, no, like... You're absolutely not wrong. Like, I'm willing to admit that. Again, I'm willing to admit this, but there is a concrete difference between what I am saying when I say I notice a pattern, right? I notice patterns within a system of things that typically don't happen, right? Like I said, when you have like people, when you have someone like Electric, right, who goes out of their way to censor inbound, outbound traffic of a website that they don't like.
Plus, so what are you saying? Okay, let's assume. All right, let's assume this pattern is real. Let's say the pattern is happening. If the pattern is happening, what I'm asking you is very simply, what should we do about it?
I don't know. Report them.
Okay. I mean, isn't that just what you would do with anybody who's being abusive?
You report in your federal system, but the federal system doesn't respond. Reach out to your local congressman about, hey, there's massive levels of corruption at tier 1 ISPs, and they don't do anything, right? Me and a bunch of people, right, back in 2022, we basically sent out a bunch of emails. We started calling up our local representatives about this. Okay. Nothing was done.
Okay.
No sort of.
So what are you calling for? What action are you calling for?
I don't know, more regulation on
Are you saying make a regulation preventing trans people from being
No, I'm not new. Like, oh my god, fucking First Amender. Right?
I'm asking, is that what you are implying? I mean, you can just say no, and it's fine. We move on.
No,
I want to know your position.
You didn't let me finish because you cut me off.
All right, go ahead.
Okay,
Man.
I don't appreciate that. Okay,
go ahead, man.
This is what I'm talking about. Okay, this is what I'm talking about earlier when you title it the Chud Freakouts and then Redemption. Right. This is what I'm talking about earlier when like here I am. I'm trying to be as good faith as possible, and you start cutting me off. Right. Like, can you not do that? Like, yeah, I know you're laughing, right? You know.
Because it's funny.
Well, dude, it's not funny to me. It's frustrating because here I am, right? I'm trying to explain that, like, no, I want to see legislative action to prevent corruption on an executive level to prevent censorship, right? And then you just immediately just say, oh, you want to censor trans people.
What does that have to do with trans people? Hello?
Oh, I don't know. Trans people also seem to be afraid of the law. But when you have people
trans people are afraid of the law?
Yeah.
How so?
Let me see. Honeycomb.io upon issuing legal upon
it seems
upon
like
the owner of
the trans people are appealing to the law.
Let me finish. Like, again, right? You're doing this thing, right? When I'm talking about, like, hey, here is an example of legal litigation that caused something that caused an immediate action. You cut me off.
Go ahead, dude.
Okay, so like early 2024, there is the owner of Kiwi Farms pressed a lawsuit against Honeycomb.io, Path Networks, and some guy who obsesses over Taylor Swift and is trying to sue the site. Effective immediately upon the lawsuit hitting his fund, Honeycomb.io released all freezes on Kiwi Farm. Basically, it became what was once invisible on Google's webmastering services now became visible. That's an example right there. That's an example I can think of where a private individual had to take matters into their hand with the law to prevent censorship.
Okay.
Of a site.
Sure. I mean, I'm not against that. What does this have to do with trans people again?
Again,
the trans people don't like the law? It seems like trans people seem to be appealing to the law in order to get rights.
You have yet to provide an example, right? And I keep reusing the same examples over and over again, right? I provide an example of...
I failed to see it just seems like you don't like people who are being tyrannical with their power, not whether or not they're trans people.
I'm bringing up a good point and you start cutting me off.
Yeah, I let you finish. I have ADD, man. Sometimes I cut people off. It's a flaw that I have, and it's not me trying to be malicious or anything. But a thought comes into my head, and I think, oh wait, what about this?
I am in the middle of pausing and trying to recount. Like here I am. Right, I let me talk. According to my
I've explained why.
For 10 minutes at one point, and then as soon as I take like not even like a minute pause. Right, and you keep in mind that I was counting the pauses that you took. Right, you took like 3 pauses. Right, each pause a minute and a half. Right, a minute and 30 seconds. And I allowed. Right, I was being calm, being cordial. Right, I'm being extremely good faith. But upon 30 minutes, right now, upon not even 30 seconds, right, you cut me off, saying, "Oh, well, are you talking? Hello." Like it's like fucking annoying.
All right, think. You got anything else for me, buddy?
I mean, will you allow me to finish, or?
Sure.
I want to restate my original thesis, right? My original statement that I don't have an issue with trans people, but I have an issue with is that when they seemingly get into a position of power, they start abusing it, and because people are afraid to criticize them, they seem to get away with it. Until legal action has to be taken by someone who shouldn't have to do it.
Why not just go after unchecked power? You don't even have to reference that they're trans. Probably serves to serve you in a negative light to point out the fact that they're trans.
Because for
Because
literally
it tells me that you're not interested in the. Sorry.
no, for 50 years. Like how long? Like okay, like I know you're not an idiot. Like fucking First Amendment. Like how long has networking standards have been a thing? Since the 80s, right? I want to say
Really
maybe the
long
70s.
time. Really
50
long time.
years, right?
Late
And
70s.
we haven't seen like large scale like any sort of like webmastering manipulation, ISP, traffic
I would
blocking.
imagine if something like that happened, there would absolutely be legal implications, and like it would have gotten shut down right away. And it's possible some of these things probably never even like
It
reach the
hasn't.
light of day.
Oh, well, gee, I
You
wonder
know.
why, right? Because no one doesn't know about this shit, right? And let's be real, right? Am I the only person that you heard talk about this so far? Yes or no?
This particular topic regarding trans people, yeah, this is a very interesting, unique position you seem to hold.
Well,
I'm failing. What I'm having an issue with is I'm
right?
failing to see the relevance to because it just sounds like you don't like power hungry people that don't obey the law.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
And
would agree
you're
with that.
wrong, right?
I
Like,
don't want I don't want power hungry people to not obey the law either. I think that's a bad
okay,
thing.
so let me ask you this, First Amender, straight up. So if a trans person starts censoring your website, right, just because of the fact they don't like your opinions, even though you 100% suck, like, no, basically suck up to them, right? Let's just say, like, and that's sort of hypothetical scenario, right? You don't know why there is censorship going on, but you're no longer receiving inbound, outbound traffic to firstamender.com, right?
Oh, I never
Would
received
you would
inbound
you
outbound
would you be
traffic to
okay with that?
firstdebtor.com.
Well, no, I'm just asking, right? Because I know you run a website, right?
Yeah.
Right, and that's an example I can think of right off the bat, right? Where it's like, if this happened to you, right, would you say the same things? Would you say, oh, why hasn't this been
Well,
done here?
I mean, I would probably, assuming I cared about it at this point. Let's just assume that, because as of now, I don't really care about it. I consider it to be a failed experiment. I mean, if there was that, I mean, yeah, I would just take the same legal channels that the Kiwi Farms guy did, right? I would find like, okay, well, what's my legal recourse? Is this legal? Because like obviously it's a legal battle at that point. Would I care about it? Yeah, I mean, I would just, but the fact that they're trans would just have no relevance to like my distaste towards it. It would be like, well, why are you censoring me? And like I would just be like against censorship, not whether or not they're trans.
But do you think articles will report your story?
Huh? Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, so considering that I talked about Hurricane Electric, which is
And the
like
fact that you
the
know about
largest
this.
the largest tier one ISP, right? That deliberately went out of their way to ISP block one website, for about roughly, I want to say at a minimum 200,000
There are right
IP
wing
addresses.
sources that are anti trans, and there are left wing sources that are
This is
pro
coming
trans.
directly. This is coming directly from people on the site who reported this. Right? They reported directly saying, "Hey, I don't have access to the site anymore. Hey, I'm using Wireshark. Hey, that Wireshark is reporting that this connection is being interrupted." When something like that happens, right? That's no longer a right
I'm
wing.
still failing to see how this is relevant to the fact that they're trans.
Well, do you know the reason why that QE form is being censored? Nice cat.
It's seen as a harassment website
Harassment of what user or
of
what of what?
people, like
No, not these
specifically to
people.
go out of their way and dox people. Yeah,
No,
Kiwi
no,
Farms is known for
because
this.
Kiwi Farms had existed for 8 years, right? There was really no
Is
massive
Kiwi Farms not known for that?
what?
For doxing people?
Well, no, they
Posting where
collect.
people live, collecting information that's normally not readily available, putting it onto a single thread so you can make fun of and harass that person? Yeah, that's what it's about. I
Again,
couldn't
right?
imagine what would cause them to
Can
get blocked.
let me speak, please?
Sure.
All right. So nobody gave a fuck about that for
What?
years, right? Yeah. Dude, if you think, dude,
Ask
like
anybody who knows about Kiwi Farms that isn't on the right? And who actually knows about it. And
Kiwi
they would be like,
Farms
oh, you mean that
actually,
site that harasses people? I know that site.
okay, first off, right, Kiwi Farms is turned left, right? Yeah, I don't know why people think that it's always like there's literally only one part that's like right leaning, and it's called the Autism Thunderdome for a reason, right?
Do
Even
you
the
frequent
owner,
Kiwi Farms?
yeah,
Why?
because I like to talk about Dark Side Film. I like to talk about Scott the Waz. And if I actually created a positive Scott the Waz thread about, right? I never doxed him, right? I just said, hey, let's talk about this one guy who I greatly enjoy, right? Because guess what? You can have
if you're on Kiwi Farms, there's never anything positive about it.
Really. How much more about that? There's an entire
I've never seen this. It's always to make fun of them. Always.
Well, that's I want to say that's probably 40% of the site, maybe at this point now. But no, there is
making fun of somebody.
There is a gaming section, a ship posting section, a top secret section where they make fun of the meta of making fun of someone and talking about games. There's an artwork section. There is like that, right. There's a good example, right? If you post it like, hey, I need help with this level, right? In Super Mario Sunshine, right? You may get called an F slur on Kiwi Farms, but their actual help you out.
Gotcha. Well, Stink. It's 9 minutes past my normal when I stream, so I think we'll call it right here. It was nice talking to you, buddy.
Okay. Well, nice talking to you.
Let's see.